repeat. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner McIntyre?
Here.
Commissioner Page?
Commissioner Page?
Here.
Okay, request for modifications or approval of the agenda. Any modifications?
I have no modifications to add.
So just for safety, just for continuity today, you guys, I'll make the motion and just one of you can second it so that we have it on the record so people can hear, because you guys are kind of hard to hear. So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. And to make it easy for Trish, Jim, would you just second? One of you has to second.
Just barely hear you.
Okay, Mike made a modification to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
So it's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment for agenda items. Is there any member of the public wishing to make a comment on an agenda item? Dan?
That'd be me. Gentlemen, during the course of the last few years, we've been through some changes. In the beginning of the last term bargaining for the 2014 through 2017 agreement, the Commission and you, Jim, put together a PowerPoint presentation to show how the budget was about to collapse and how bad the economic forecast for the future of Clallam County was. I refused to go because I did not believe it would be any different than the last few times I had bargained with the county, and I doubted very much it was true. As it turns out, there was no budget shortfall. Jim, you had been around the county and local community long enough to know the reality. After a very long and costly bargaining, lasting nearly 2 years, in which the union gave in to almost every one of the county's realistic proposals, the county, in the end, rejected its own bargaining team's proposal and that of the state mediator, only to cost the county even more money. At the same time, it rebuffed its own team. It then violated the agreement by putting more county workers to a 37.5-hour work week. After losing an arbitration, the grievance over 37.5-hour work week, the county is suing the union to get the award overturned. This is the very reason that arbitration is in the agreement, to keep us from suing each other and driving up the cost. The board was so disingenuous and so arrogant, the union had no choice but to come after the commission. That is what we have done. You, Jim, are a direct result of what a few hundred folks who were treated badly by you can do. The union will make the cost of getting elected in Clallam County much higher if it does nothing else. Bill, make no mistake, we are watching you closely to see what you do in the future. Jim Jones, I will remind you that it only takes 2 commissioners to make your at-will position belong to someone else. That, gentlemen, is all there is to say.
I appreciate that, Dan. I'd like to just put on the record that in the new year, we need to find a new spirit of cooperation to alleviate this back and forth between the union and our workers and management. And I pledge that in the new year, we'll start a new form of dialogue, begin to work together. I think we all take some responsibility, but I think probably most of the time it lands more on management than labor. And I think in the new budget, 40 hours is guaranteed for the workers, and there's some leftover issues that I think we have to just come together and solve those issues in the new year so that labor and management can have a predictability. And I'll just give you my public commitment to work together in the new year and start a new spirit of cooperation.
Yeah, mine as well.
Thank you. So maybe you and I and Jim can talk later and kind of begin to strategize on how we can move forward. But I think at the end of the day, I'm more positive that we can do that, and I'm more positive that the new budget and the commitment going forward for a 40-hour work week really begins to lend a lot of stability for employees. So I think that's really, those are some good things. There's just those leftover issues that we have to solve, and we can do it.
Okay.
There's no doubt we can do it. We can do it together on behalf of the taxpayers who pay us, and on behalf of the citizens who we serve, both from labor and management. So,
Okay.
okay. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who wishes to make a comment on agenda items? Seeing no one, consent agenda.
Thank you. Item 1A is approval of vouchers for the week of November 9th. Item 1B is approval of minutes for the week of November 9th. Item 1C is approval of budget modifications for the week of November 2nd. Item 1D is approval of payroll for the period ending October 31st. And item 1E is a proclamation recognizing November as American Diabetes Awareness Month.
So I move to accept the consent agenda.
Move the consent agenda. Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports and presentations. So let me enter into the record. Let me read the proclamation recognizing November as American Diabetes Awareness Month. Whereas November 1st through the 30th marks American Diabetes Awareness Month, and whereas diabetes affects nearly 30 million children and adults in the U.S. today, nearly 10% of the population, and whereas 1 in 10 adults in Clallam County have been told they have diabetes, and the diabetes-related hospital rate from 2008 to 2010 in Clallam County was 1,269, and whereas in 2014, 6% of the deaths in Clallam County were attributed to diabetes, and whereas every 19 seconds someone in the U.S. is diagnosed with diabetes, and whereas diabetes nearly doubles the risk for heart attack and for death from heart disease, and whereas roughly 60 to 70% of people with diabetes have mild to severe forms of nerve damage that could result in pain in the feet or hands, slow digestion, dysfunctions, and other nerve problems, and whereas 1 in 10 healthcare dollars are spent treating diabetes and its complications, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Clallam County Commissioners hereby recognizes November as American Diabetes Awareness Month, and we encourage all citizens to take steps to prevent and control the disease in their families and community, and to support the policies and programs that will help them do so. Signed this day, the 17th day of November, and I believe we have a short presentation.
Yes, we do. I'd like to thank the commissioners for this proclamation. And instead of listening to me, I have someone in the audience, Lee Erickson, who has some words for you. So, Lee.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Lee Erickson. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've had diabetes for around 9 years now. I don't need any cards to talk about it. It's something that's just a part of my daily life at this point. A lot of people don't know about it. Sometimes I'll get funny looks in school when I have to check my blood sugar in class or whatever. It's really just, it's manageable, but it takes a lot of patience and time. Like when I was first diagnosed, I was kind of like just generally upset and angry that I got diagnosed with diabetes. I didn't really know what it was. And like, as I mature in my life, it's not really anything that should be like looked down upon or worried about. It's just a part of my daily life, and as long as I manage it well, it's easily manageable. So I really don't know what else to say about it, but it'd just be nice to get some recognition about it. Like when I was first diagnosed, I showed there's a little video that the doctor gave me that I showed my whole class, and all of them understand it now. So yeah. All right. Thanks.
Lee, we appreciate you being here today. What are you, 17, 18?
Oh, I'm 16.
16. So probably one of the younger presentations we've had. We really appreciate it. And appreciate your courage to come and discuss the issue. So thanks. Yeah, my admiration for coming today.
Yeah, any questions?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
So,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else, Iva?
No, sir.
Reports and presentations, Commissioner McIntyre,
Nothing from me.
Commissioner Peach, Take that as a no.
Commissioner Page, do you have anything to report?
Briefly, I'd like to report that Derek Rutzbach delivered National Park presentation in Clallam Transit yesterday. And the park has revised the alternatives they are considering. We're working on Highway 101 around the crest. The overwhelming majority of public comment reject road closure, use of Highway 112 because of the impact on commuters and communities. Number of alternatives has been reduced from 6 to 3 and feature road closures will be limited to 30 minutes. Construction will occur inside a 3-month time frame, either for 1 year or for 2 years. And construction could begin as early as January 2017. Next step in this process will be the EIS that's going to be sent out to everybody by January 2016, and they get to pay more public meetings in February 2016.
Okay, thanks. Contracts and agreements.
Item 2A is an agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for Marine Resources Committee operations. All as was discussed yesterday in work session. There's $72,050 in funding that comes along with this agreement.
Move the agenda item. Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Budget.
Item 3A is a notice of hearing to be held December 1st at 10:30 a.m. and also at 6 p.m. regarding the proposed 2016 Clallam County budget and consideration of general fund and road levies.
So,
Move the notice of hearing. Second.
it's moved and seconded to call for the notice of hearing. I have one question, Jim.
Yes.
So in your presentation, you indicate that the 1% property tax levy is not being taken, which would have been allowed by law, but isn't it true that because the rate of inflation was well under 1%, there would have had to have been a special declaration of exigent circumstances?
Yes.
To actually taken it.
That would be true, yes.
And we did look into whether it can be banked, and it can't be because, in my mind,
No banking, if there hasn't been any inflation, you can't bank it.
and so, in my mind, as I looked at it, I have a hard time justifying the declaration of exigent circumstances. So in some respects, maybe we can modify that for the public here.
If you like, I can tell you all the other legislative bodies that I'm aware of on the peninsula who have all, save us, have all described the exigent circumstance, and what their circumstance is, for the most part, it would be the same as ours, is that in previous years, when we were limited to 1%, inflation was significantly higher, and therefore it's just put us in this downward spiral. But you're absolutely right, taking only this year, the implied price deflator is less than the amount. So whatever you would like, I can change it.
But there's no way to bank it.
There's no way to bank it.
Can you, when inflation comes back up,
No.
will you double check that?
I will double check that.
Double check that.
I will double check. My understanding is the banking, I don't know how the exigent circumstance applies to the banking, but I do know it talks about when you choose not, it really, the banking goes back to the old days when you used to have the ability to go up to 6%, you didn't take it all. And it really hasn't been used much in the 1% era. And so it doesn't really fit, and the implied price deflator came in the 1% era, and it's just confusing. But I can sure check and see if there's any updated advice from the Attorney General's Office or Department of Revenue.
It's moved and seconded, calling for the public hearing. Any other questions? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Community development.
Item 4A is a notice of hearing to be held December 8th at 10:30 a.m. regarding a proposed amendment to Clallam County Code Titles 31, Comprehensive Plan Map, and 33, Zoning, in response to an application from County Parks, Fair, and Facilities Department for a rezone, all as was discussed yesterday in work session.
Move the call for hearing.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
No bids and awards, no administration, no public works, no public hearings, public comment. Is there any member of the public wishing to make general comment? Ken?
Good morning. Kenneth Reno, 21 Side of the Road. I'll comment briefly on inflation. And there is a discussion going on that it was disproportionately affected by declining food prices. And that I can tell you, and you probably know this, electricity hasn't gone down. Other costs, supplementary health care plans have gone up. So that conversation, I think, is ongoing at the federal level too. And enough of that, but thank you for your proclamation on recognizing diabetes. I have been diagnosed for 20 plus years. My father, 35 plus years. My son is also diagnosed the last year. And my father had 2 siblings that didn't control well, died in their 70s. He'll be 92 in January. It can be done. He didn't go on insulin until he was even in his 80s. So lifestyle, he recognized he hadn't changed it, so as I have, and we control well. His brothers and sisters are all gone. So thank you again for your proclamation.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else wishing to make general comment to the board? Seeing no one? No executive session is scheduled. Review of the calendar. Looks like Commissioners McIntyre and Peach are attending the Washington State Association of Counties annual meeting. Looks like, aren't you and Bill attending the Washington State Association of Counties annual meeting?
Yes, we're en route, or I am, even as we speak.
Okay. Well, safe travels, and we'll, we need your permission, gentlemen, for Trish to stamp the documents.
Okay, if Trish uses your stamp on the items you voted on today.
Yes, indeed. That'd be funny.
Okay? There's nothing else before the board. We'll continue this week's meeting to next Monday at 9 a.m.